Hello students. Today we will discuss the English poem I Will Embrace Only the Sun, written by the famous Telugu poet Tripuraneni Srinivas. The poem is also a part of the syllabus of BA Semester 4th of Punjab University Chandigarh. The poem I Will Embrace Only the Sun is taken from the poet's collection of poems named Rahasyodyamam, which means secret moment. In this poem, the poet is making a passionate request to be original in our thoughts, actions, and behavior. He criticizes blind imitation in anything. In the beginning lines of the poem, I have always doubted the distinct shade of a face on another face. I always look down upon the mirror that makes man a mere reflection. So, in these lines, the poet shows his disliking for those people who imitate or try to copy others in their thoughts and actions. He compares such people to mirrors which don't show the real human beings and their faces but merely their reflections. So, according to the poet, a man loses his own individuality when he tries to imitate others. By doing so, he becomes a mere reflection. Reflection here stands for lack of identity and lack of originality. With 20 centuries old sky as witness, filled with tears of people, amidst sobs of seven oceans that occupy one third of planet Earth, standing in the corner of this period of time, I am recreating myself once again. In this stanza, the poet uses powerful metaphors to illustrate the history of mankind. He uses the word sky to refer to history or nature, that is, a witness to all human activities on the earth. The poet lived in the 20th century, so he says that the sky is a witness to the tearful history of mankind for 20 centuries. According to him, the life of people on this earth is full of miseries, but he does not become pessimistic or negative in his thoughts. In such times, by standing in a corner, he tries to recreate himself, which means that he tries to give himself a better form once again. The poet dislikes sticking to the old traditions and continuing with the old forms. He wants to create something new and adopt some new form. In the next lines, I always liked the song that defied total comprehension, where there is scope for imagination. I made a habit of rebirth again and again. Isn't birth a victory over death? Aren't ideas creators? So, in these lines, the poet tries to show his liking for creativity. The poet uses the symbols of song and rebirth. He believes in songs which have a scope of reinterpretation because The thing which is already clear in its meaning has no scope for the imagination to work. He has made a habit of rebirth again and again, means he always tries to find out newer and newer potentials in himself. So, finding new potentials is like rebirth for the poet. According to him, when a person tries to remain in the same form, it is a kind of death for that person. So, instead of sticking to old ideas or traditions, one must try to regenerate oneself because birth is always a kind of victory over death. In the next stanza, I never forgot the fact of a person being repeat of a poem being repeated by scores. I always resent the affront of men echoing emptily. Witnessed by 25 autumn seasons, having shed many deaths and reborn yet again, standing in the corner of this period of history, I am instructing man how to sign. In these lines, the poet shows his disliking for those people who used to say the same thing in their poems, which is a kind of affront or insult for them. He feels very bad about it. In his lifetime, the poet has experimented with new ideas and he finds himself as standing in the corner and instructing others how to sign, which means how to stop being a face in the crowd and how to keep or maintain their individuality. So, in the concluding lines, I have never lived without a new thought. I will never rest until the mirrors are broken. I cannot love the moon with all its brilliance. Even if consumed by flames, I will embrace only the sun. So, in these concluding lines, the poet says that he has never spent his life without a new thought. He is always experimenting with new ideas. He is against the mirrors that reduce man to mere reflection. Here he means that he will keep telling the people to stop imitating others and to keep their own individuality. We all know that moon has no light of its own, but the sun is an inexhaustible source of light and energy. That is why the poet says that he cannot love the moon which has no originality. He will love only the sun which has nothing in it that can be called imitated. Here, the poet wants to say that he will keep creating new ideas of his own, even if he has to sacrifice his life for it. So, in this stanza, the poet uses the metaphor of sun to show originality and the metaphor of moon to talk about mere reflection. The title is derived from this line where the poet reconfirms his stand that he will embrace only the originality. On the whole, the poem is about the importance of originality and creating new ideas. It condemns the blind imitation of others. So, I hope that all the lines of the poem are clear to you now. Thank you.